Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Hobo Hero. I know it's been about a couple years since I've been a video talk about my lifestyle and whatever else is going on with me. I think mostly why I stopped because of the whole cancel culture and didn't want my YouTube videos to hurt anybody's feelings, which will in turn hurt my paycheck or them trying to get me fired from my job. So that was pretty much one of the major reasons why I stopped doing it. But I think I'm not really worried about that per se now. I think that cancel culture, people are waking up to that and they see how the nonsense in that. And I think, I could probably say a few words without too many people getting offended and, feelings get involved and want to, attack my job and my income and my way I make my living. But being that said, I'm going to try to keep this within 10 minutes. I find that more than 10 minutes, it becomes a little harder to download and most people tend to lose interest. Anyway, I'm still a full-time RVer. Just trying to, I had my RV since 2019. For those who don't know, still, religiously, doing my thing. I don't take pictures of something that's not mine and then go back to my apartment and pretend like, all is good. I live in it. It's my RV. It's my home. I don't trust the housing market here. You buy a house, that may or may not be worth anything. You get in an apartment, your rent's going to go up every year, about $100. And, I thought it was silly, when I was dating here in America. I thought I needed it because, we get things for the woman. We don't get things for ourselves. The nice house, the nice cars and all that, that's for the lady. That's for for them. Most men, are simple creatures like myself. We could do the bare minimum and we'll be just as happy. And that's why I, invested in the RV and stuck with it. Initially, it was a culture shock, and I had some doubts about the decisions I made. There's sometimes I wake up and it's like, holy shit, why am I in this? This is hot with a capital F. And then the days when it's cold here in, miserable Massachusetts, it's cold with a capital F. Now, I know places like Chicago, Alaska, and Canada can get generously more colder than where I'm at now. So, but I'm in Massachusetts, so we like to complain about the weather, give it 5 minutes and see what's going on. We had a lot of rain here for a couple of days, but at least it's warmer compared to it normally would be. Let's see here. Adjusting to divorce life. I've been divorced now legally since 2018, separated in 2016, and marriage sort of fell apart probably after my third child was born, so 2013. But it is what it is. Can't keep them. The modern woman now has the power, the ability to come and go as they please. There's nothing economically or morally holding them to any relationship, and that's the scary thing for a man. And it's almost become counterintuitive for a man to get married in America now, because with the divorce rates and stuff, if you have assets, you can lose a lot in a divorce. There is no real upswing to getting married in Western countries anymore. I'm not saying that every woman is like that. There's a small minority of you that still want to be kept, want to be a traditional woman, and want to do that, but majority of that, not so much. And it's because of modern media and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and whatever else that's influencing our young ladies and daughters and stuff. So it is what it is. But dating during that time was quite interesting. A lot of ladies I dated were single mothers. They had a couple kids, and it can be a little tough because you want to try to date somebody with a clean slate, and it can be tough. I don't have a clean slate myself, and I'm not the kind of guy that's like, she's got kids, that's a disqualification. if she's a good woman, if she has kids, one or two, I think two is my max, where I would just, and they respect me as a man, and she respects me as a man, and they respect me as a father figure, I have no problem with that. My only problem with a lot of these single mothers are there's no respect. There is no appreciation of what you do or what you don't do. These ladies expect you to do so much and give so little, and then their father of the child, who could come and go whenever he please, come, go, do what he wants, and they say, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," but he's gone. Where you're still there, and they want to call you by your first name, and if you say something to them, you want to try to correct them, they roll your eyes. You're not my daddy. So at that point, you go, "You're right. I'm good with that." And it's not like your mother's helping me out by checking you or defending me or saying, "Hey, you should respect this man, he's providing for us," or anything like that. I think a lot of men can share that story. So that's where a lot of single moms tend to DQ themselves, just their attitude on the whole thing. We put ourselves in a situation where we're trying to help, and you end up simping, and there's no need to do that. We, contrary to popular belief, most men have options. We have options. If you make good money, you have options. You don't need to stoop low, sit your bar down, or simp for some woman because you think she's pretty, or she gave you a good time a couple times in bed, and now you think that she owes you owe her the world. You don't. Try to keep this within 10 minutes, so we'll stop yapping about that. So basically, I've been traveling, as a single man would do. I got my passport in 2019, 2020, just before COVID. And I ended up traveling to Taiwan, Hong Kong, and had a great time. A lot of good culture. I love temple hunting, so you'll see a lot of them pictures probably on my post. I did post a lot of stuff I did in temples and stuff. I love temples. I love, I'm Buddhist. So I'm spiritual in religion, but I'm Buddhist. I lean towards the Buddhist religion. And so those temples and stuff is almost like a peace of mind, self-correction. And that's why I love China and Hong Kong, and going to Thailand. I love Thailand. I'll get back to Thailand in a second. Just roll off right quick. The Philippines, and love South America. I love their cathedrals. I love walking in, South America. They have the cathedrals everywhere, and they're beautiful inside. These cathedrals, the outside area can look like nuclear war, but inside, but once you get around those cathedrals, those Catholics, they keep those bad boys pristine and pretty. It doesn't matter what kind of, demonic issues going on outside, inside is saintly. I don't know, that's a weird thing, but I love walking in cathedrals and and just sitting in there listening to the prayer and joining in the services and stuff. Like I said, I'm spiritual Buddhist, but I can walk in any religious place and feel comfortable. Religion is something that I think everybody should have. So whatever you need, it doesn't mean that every religion is for you. I don't co-sign on a lot of religions. I mean, I grew up Christian. I'm Southern Baptist, country boy, so that's what it is. But you can evolve. I did my evolution into spirituality and Buddhism. So it is what it is. But I met a lot of good people throughout the way. Met a lot of interesting ladies. They taught me about myself and taught me about women. And I appreciate even the good and the bad. Whether you get stolen from or you got taken advantage of, they taught you a lesson. And it's a lesson that you can grow from and learn. A lot of people don't learn. They just repeat the same stupid mistakes because, number one, alcohol is always a factor. Weird. I don't drink, so alcohol is not a factor for me. I don't need to go to bars. I don't need to go to nightclubs. I don't need to associate with a certain type of woman. It is what it is. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to find that certain type of woman just right on the street, because I have bumped into them, and you think this woman, she's talking, she's very friendly, and all of a sudden she's just playing a game. She sees you as a tourist, you are an asset, and she's been friendly, for a reason. Not everybody who's smiling in front of you is your friend, and not everybody who's frowning in front of you is your enemy. That's another lesson I had to learn, especially going into a lot of foreign countries. Colombia, love Colombia. It was like that was going to be my retirement destination after I retired from the fire department. You know, another 14 years from now. Great money to value. It's a 4-to-1. Basically, sometimes I think now it'll drop down. Like right now, I think it's probably 3-to-1 right now, a little over 3-to-1. But usually it hovers between 3.6 to 4-to-1 ratio on a dollar. Love Colombia. Love all different parts of Cartagena, Medellin, Bogota, Cali. You name it, man. Colombia was just beautiful. Great people. Awesome country. Guatemala. Love Guatemala. The best ratio per capita of your money. If you want to go to a place where you're going to save money and live good, go to Guatemala. It's an 8-to-1 ratio last time I checked. That was like a couple years ago. But even if it's like 6 or 7, that's still probably the best place. A lot of expats retire down there because you get more bang for your buck. $1 is $8. So $800, you know, it's 8,000. It's not hard. It's you know, like I said, you got lots of good culture down there, good temples. It's clean. It's safe. There's some areas that's bad, of course, but you know, Guatemala City, I had a great time in Guatemala City. People nice, comfortable, awesome. Let's see here. Where else did I go? Santo Domingo, yes. You know, Boca Chica. You know, the Dominican Republic, a nice country. They love tourists. They keep your tourists safe. You still can get taken advantage of. You know, you get somebody's cab, and all of a sudden they get friendly with you, and all of a sudden they want to take you to their friend's hotel and their friend's shop, and before you know it, they're trying to get you to buy and spend. And you're like, I'm just trying to get my hotel, man. You know, so you got to be careful about guys who want to try to take you around and, you know, be a tour guide. You know, sometimes, you know, everybody's trying to get your money, so you got to learn the hard way. This guy here, I had to learn the hard way, you know. Where else? Peru. Peru was awesome. Beautiful country. Mountainous. Never really rained. It's sort of like overcast like this, misty, but it never really rained. It was like a misty type of environment. It never like poured raindrops when I got there. But, you know, you had a lot of great overcast days up in the mountains, but it didn't rain. It was like a misty, warm weather. You know, once you get used to the altitude sickness, you know, me thin lungs up here, down in Massachusetts, and then you go up there in Peru, you know, you got to deal with the mountain weather. But good time. Let's see, I'm trying to think of somewhere else I've been that's awesome. You know, like I said, but getting back to Thailand, I finally made a trip to Thailand 2 years ago. Met a couple of interesting people. Met an interesting woman, and she latched onto me real quick. And we dated, we talked, we broke up, we got back together again, and got married. So, you know, my life is probably where I want it to be. Like I said, my intentions were when I got divorced in my early 40s, you know, I was going to be single for a while, but I was hoping to be remarried by 50, and here I am. 51, going on 52 years old, remarried, and got a beautiful Thai daughter who loves me to death, you know, who calls me daddy. She respects me. I can correct her mistakes, and there's no problem. And her mama don't go, that's my child, you can't do, you know, y'all don't get none of that. She goes, hey, you know, you did wrong, daddy had to tell you did wrong, whatever. And she stands by my decisions, whether good or ill. You know, there's a lot of cultural things that I have to like sort of undo with her, and that's a working process. It's hard to reprogram a Thai lady out of certain things because they're culturally they are trained to like take care of their family and provide, and they're basically the buffalo, and that's what my wife was. She was a buffalo for my family, for her family, sorry, and she took care of everybody, like her mom, her dad, her brothers, her aunts, her cousins. Every time somebody had a problem, she had to go and work and pay it off, which made her no time for her, no time for her child, no time for her bills. I mean, it got to a point where, you know, her family was taking advantage of her. She was supposed to like send money to paid off the house, and her mom wasn't doing it. Her mom was just spending the money. So A year goes by, she finally gets a note from the freaking bank that, hey, we're gonna take your house. So you haven't paid us in a year. And she's like, that's not true because I gave my mom money to pay you. But welcome to Thailand. Welcome to some people. It's shameful that people will do that to their own children. But you know, like I said, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to reprogram her to go the right way, and you know, get rid of some of that nonsense that's not working, that never worked. That's what, you know, there's a lot of poor people have that type of mentality that does dumb shit. They think, especially in America, we have the same mentality where we will feed off of our children and then kick it down. Everybody thinks that money is kicked up, all right? Like the children has to support the family, like you live off your children. No, that's not how it works. Real world wealth is made when you kick it down. That means you make the money, you save it, and then you push it down to your children. The money you make goes to them, and then the money they make go to their children. That's how it's supposed to work. But places in the ghetto and in, you know, in Thailand, you know, the poor people living off their fucking children. They think the children are their retirement. No, you had them, you take care of them. You don't have children just to have them take care of you. That's silly. But anyway, enough of the, you know, the drama on that my side. But other than that, yeah, I mean, so far so good. Actually, I was talking about my new car here. I'll turn it around so you guys can see. So this is my 2003 Ford Bronco. This is a pretty nice vehicle. You know, I have some mileage on it and stuff, so it's good. And then this is my RV here that I live in full time here, and this is not too bad here. Just some issues with it. I broken windows and some electrical issues, but it is what it is. But anyway, apparently I made this video longer than I wanted to make it, so it is what it is, I suppose. Hopefully I can download it and it'll all sync up. Anyway, I hope everybody have a great and wonderful day. And as always, we're going to try to be good to do good. Take care now.